What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Canadian Football Fanatics YouTube channel. And thank you guys for tuning in to another video. Hope everybody is doing well as we are moving through the end of 2025, nearing December and the holiday season. It is actually the eve before Grey Cup Sunday as of the time of this recording, so that's exciting. It's a little bittersweet, if I am honest, though, with obviously the end of our Canadian Football League season. But let's get into today's video. Judging by the thumb title and title of the video, I'm sure you guys are already well aware of what we're going to do on today's video, but we are starting a new series here on the Canadian Football Fanatics YouTube channel. So stay tuned for that. Stay tuned for our guest in this video. We will get into it momentarily. But of course, folks, before we do, if you guys could enjoy the video, or if you guys are enjoying the video, please be sure to like the video, comment down below, and of course, most importantly, subscribing to the YouTube channel down below. When you guys subscribe, hit the notification bell. You guys get notified each time we go live or upload a video just like this one right here. Of course, you guys can find us on our social media platforms as well. We are at _CF Fanatics on Twitter and at Canadian Football Fanatics on Instagram, as well as we are trying to track down 5,000 followers now on Instagram. Just crossed over that 4,000 follower milestone. So now we go for 5,000 halfway to 10K, which is a pretty cool accomplishment. So we're moving and we're getting a pretty good following here as we end the 2025 CFL season. But as I mentioned, we're going to try to find ways to evolve and pump out some cool content during the off season. So I think this is one of the ways with today's video. Lastly, on our reminders, folks, if you guys are wanting to check out some more of our content as well as some more clips, kind of like the YouTube short, Instagram reel style that we've been putting out, you guys can find some more of our content on millions.com, as well as some of our CF Fanatics merch, whether that be t-shirts or hoodies. As I mentioned, you guys can find basically everything that you can, everything that you is available to you on YouTube, whether that's the BC Lions post-game reports, BCFC stuff, the podcast episodes that will be coming out soon. We'll touch on that in a little bit. You guys can find that all on Millions, and then Millions does a great job of putting out some clips as well with some B-roll and some overlaid footage in there as well. So shout out to Millions because they do a fantastic job of pumping out our content as well as providing us a merch outlet, which has been pretty cool to see. We've got a few orders that have been starting to go out now. Actually, a good buddy of mine, shout out to Brad if he is listening. Um, work with him on a construction site here in town, and he's actually repping the Canadian Football Fanatics hoodie from time to time on site. So I love to see it, and I love to see the t-shirts coming up now as well, which has been pretty cool. So head over to millions.com, guys. You can check out all that good stuff over there as well. So let's get into today's video before we get moving any forward. And that's going to be a film breakdown featuring quarterback Taylor Elgersma, who's going to join us in about 5-10 minutes time, and we're going to break down not a crazy amount of plays, probably about 3 or 4 plays, as I feel like um, you know first of all, I know Taylor's a busy guy himself with training and whatnot, a regular life as well outside of football, and don't want to bother him for too long. So probably about 3 or 4 plays. We'll obviously touch up or catch up with Taylor as well before we get into the plays, and try to, I'm not no expert, to be honest, guys. I did play a decently high level, I guess you could say, football in the CGFL, but not in Usports, definitely not anywhere near the pros. So I'm definitely interested to get Taylor's perspective, and I think it'll be an awesome experience for fans that are tuning in as well to get a deep dive into the behind the scenes, or into the helmet of a quarterback, a professional quarterback in Taylor Elgersma. So I think it's going to be super cool. One thing in the film breakdown is we actually kind of had this in the works during the, I guess you could say, the end of the offseason when we had Logan Furlan, Saskatchewan Roughriders offensive lineman, on, which I believe was maybe our last guest or second to last guest before we ended during the CFL season. And reached out to Logan, or actually chatted with Logan after we kind of hit stop on a record, and mentioned that I'd be really interested in doing a film breakdown with you, especially in the offensive line department. I feel like that's a super underrated side of football, and the average fan maybe doesn't understand the lengths and what goes on in the trenches, so to say. And I think this is a great way to start, is with Taylor. the quarterback position. I think we can kind of break our way into different positional groups. Maybe get a running back, a receiver, an offensive lineman. We'll go obviously to the defense as well. I know people always try to give me a little bit of crap, you could say, I guess, for showing my little bit of offensive bias. But guys, that's just the way it is, I guess, here on the Canadian Football Fanatics. We will definitely not forget about the defensive side as well. We'll circle back at some point during the offseason. As I said, this is going to be a cool way, I feel like, to pump out some content during the offseason. And I guess you guys can start there. If you guys would like to see a certain, whether it's a professional player, coach, Usports player, coach, NCAA Division One, whatever it is, CFL prospect, CJFL player or coach, as I mentioned for professional, let us know in the comments who you guys would like to see in a film breakdown here on the channel. I already have, as I mentioned, a few guests that I think would be a pretty cool feature here on the new series on our channel, but I would love to hear some feedback from you guys as well. So get in the comments, let us know who you guys would like to see on a film breakdown here in the future as we move forward. So as I talked about with podcast episodes and those coming back very soon, folks, as I said, Grey Cup Sunday is tomorrow as the time of this recording, but by the time this is out, as we're going to wait to upload this so that we're ready to go with some clips and whatnot, Grey Cup Sunday will have already come and gone, unfortunately. Same with another season, as I said, it has come and gone. The bittersweetness of, obviously bitter because another season has ended, but sweetness because the off-season content that will be coming from the Canadian Football Fanatics. But when talking about the Grey Cup and Grey Cup Sunday, I guess, as I said, it'll be a few days later, but I'm going to put my money or kind of pick a side. I'm going to go with Montreal. No disrespect to Saskatchewan. A lot of the friends of the program that we do have on Saskatchewan, rooting for them, and would like to see the Riders, win, especially with kind of their um, lack of success lately, I guess, and not even lack of success lately because they've been able to put together winning seasons, but it's more so of the only four. I know with Coach Phil on the weekly show, we always try to bug him the four Grey Cups and whatever 100 years of existence. I would definitely be fine with Saskatchewan, that fan base, winning, but I think I got to put my money on Montreal as they've been here. They know how to get it done in these big games, and it appears Davis Alexander is going to be as close to 100% as possible. So, um, podcast episodes will probably be out. I would say give us maybe at least a week or two after Grey Cup, and we'll start to pump out those episodes. Similar to if you guys would like to see any guests during our podcast episode run here in the off season, let us know in the comments. We'll definitely reach back out to Taylor maybe later in, I would say, next spring, and try to circle back with Taylor and see if he's able to work it out with his schedule and come back on. We'll chop it up. But if there's anybody else out there that you guys would like to see featured on our podcast episodes during the off season, let us know down in the comments. Really, really excited for podcast season to be coming out and some of the guests that we have lined up behind the scenes. Other than that, folks, in terms of reminders, we will also have a BC Lions primer coming out at some point later in this week, probably maybe even towards the end of next week. Excuse me, the start of next week is my bad. The start of next week, maybe even the weekend. I would say probably the start of next week would probably be a little bit better. Maybe try to upload that for like a Monday or something like that next week, and that'll be obviously just a video featured on the BC Lions off season and trying to get things set. We'll kind of break things down from what we thought and did the Lions maybe match some of the expectations of the 2025 season. We'll kind of go into some of the positives, the negatives, of course, and then we'll break things down basically to get into a free agency primer whenever that will come in the new year. So basically been rambling for about 9 minutes, folks, and that is basically all of our reminders and our opening for today's video. I'm very excited for today's video and to be joined by Taylor here in a few moments, break down some film, see how he's doing as well. I believe the last time we talked to him was in the spring sometime before he had got drafted or before he signed his UDFA with the Packers. So excited to chop it up, excited to break down some film. For me personally, I'm pretty excited to learn a few things. I feel like from Taylor, as I mentioned, played in the CJFL with the Vancouver Island Raiders here in Nanaimo. Do have, I feel like, a decent football IQ, but nowhere near a guy like Taylor Elgersma, and excited to learn. I got the notepad out beside me and to take down some notes and whatnot and try to improve my game, especially going forward here if we're going to do a film room type of series moving forward. So without further ado, folks, we will send it to the interview, or the film breakdown, I should say. But before we do so, if you guys are enjoying today's video, please be sure to like it, comment down below. Most importantly, subscribe. When you guys subscribe, hit the notification bell. You guys get notified every time we go live or upload a video just like this one right here. Of course, you guys can find us on our social media platforms as well, at Canadian Football Fanatics on Instagram and at _ CF Fanatics on Twitter. So let's send it over to Taylor Elgersma and let's break down some film. Joining me now for the first installment of the film breakdown, quarterback Taylor Elgersma. Taylor, how are we doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Oh, doing well, man. Doing well. Excited to start a little new series as I reached out to you earlier in the week and kind of bring fans a little bit behind the scenes a little bit, especially with the at the quarterback position. And I believe you kind of started a little bit of something on social media as well. So excited to kind of maybe um, branch into that as well. But the last time we spoke was way back in the spring. I believe you actually hadn't been drafted yet. So congratulations, number one, drafted to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I believe you
Thank you.
hadn't signed your UDFA with the Packers as well. So maybe just to catch everybody back up, man. I mean, what a busy summer, or I guess late spring and summer you had. How was the summer overall for you?
I mean, it was awesome. Definitely super busy, like you said, but anytime I'm playing football, I'm a happy guy, and so definitely had a great time.
Yeah, and speaking about the summer, obviously you were able to have that opportunity as an undrafted free agent with the Green Bay Packers, where other teams were interested in you as well. Maybe just if you don't mind, I know you've probably been asked this numerous times, but just talk about a little bit about the experience and how maybe it should open up some maybe future doors for you as well.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, in the experience part of it, I mean, the quarterback room I was a part of was unbelievable. I mean, getting to learn from Jordan and Malik and Sean Clifford and battle with those guys every single day was an unbelievable experience. Getting to learn NFL offense, compete in the preseason and play. And, for me, it was about, just trying to develop every single day and put my best foot forward. And I feel like I did that. I feel like I showed, that I can play at that level and that I belong there. And so for me, it's just about continuing to keep going. And like you said, continue to wait for that next opportunity.
I love it. I was going to ask you about kind of the. I know last time when we had you on for the podcast episode, you talked about at the Senior Bowl opportunity of wanting to having to stop almost having to prove yourself that you do belong, and obviously as you said, you got to a little bit of play time in preseason and whatnot. Were able to throw your first career NFL touchdown pass as well. A ton of cool milestones. So it was cool following along as well, Taylor. So let's get into it. As I mentioned, I don't want to keep you for too long, so let's bring up our film room, I guess you could say, for our first episode of the film breakdown. As I was saying here, Taylor, before you jumped on, I don't have a crazy high level of football. I played in the CJFL with the Vancouver Island Raiders out here in BC. So I like to say I do have a decent amount of football knowledge, but nothing crazy, especially to yourself being in NFL locker rooms and whatnot. So for me, this is going to be a huge learning experience and stuff that I'm excited to kind of learn from you, as well as I was saying to you, kind of give the fans a peek behind the curtain, if you will, of how hard it is to not only play the quarterback position, but how much kind of schematics and whatnot goes into
Yeah.
playing football, and how fans kind of maybe think that it's just strap up on game day and throw the ball around and things just happen. And there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes to make sure that you're executing as high as possible. So the first play I did have up, Taylor, I kind of wanted to get into before we do talk through the play of kind of maybe, if you don't mind, going through a little bit of your kind of pre-snap routine. And obviously, as I said, fans, I feel like a lot of the time don't understand of like how much you're processing in maybe,
Yeah.
60 seconds of time. You're trying to process the play call, you're trying to
Yeah.
reiterate it in the huddle, then you're trying to remember what your job is, what the other 11 players are doing on the field, as well as processing what all three levels of the defense are doing. So if you don't mind, Taylor, maybe just taking us through kind of your pre-snap routine from kind of when you hear, maybe for this example, Coach Falls or Coach Galloway in your ear with the play call.
Yeah, so you're right. The first thing is processing the play call, right? So my kind of keys will change depending on what our play call is, but there's a couple of things that I try and look for every single snap, no matter what. So the first one is, formation adjustment. So how is the defense adjusting for whatever formation we come out in and whatever motion we have attached to our formation? So, for example, in the one we have here, we have a tight end weak, an isolation set to the boundary, and then we have a trip set to the field. So how are they adjusting to that formation? We look at I look at the alignment of the box. If there's any pressure tells from the defense based on the front or based on the linebacker shade, and then any kind of like pressure indicators. And the last thing I always like to check is just free safety location. As a quarterback, it's always important to understand where the free safety is. It's a big zero indicator. It's a big, 4-week indicator in terms of coverage. So, and then obviously when you have your play call, then you're going to find your keys for that specific play. And then kind of key off that defender from there.
I love it. So in this play, Taylor, I'm going to let it play here in a second and kind of just let you go crazy and let you freestyle whatever comes to mind. Feel free to bring it up. There
Yeah,
is also, I love that this had the kind of the end zone clip as well from all
yeah,
this highlight video. So it's very cool to kind of see. But obviously, from fans' perspective, they're going to see a big play go to EJ, kind of like a double move type of thing. But I want you to maybe a little bit talk about kind of the manipulating defenses a little bit. And obviously, you'll be able to see from the end zone cup, you give a little bit of kind of the shoulder fake a little bit, as well as, watching the highlight, you guys kind of run some of those overs, some of those deep posts a lot of the time. So wanting to maybe set that up throughout a game, throughout a season, and being able to take advantage of the defense because, as you said, maybe you're eyeing the safety, wanting to make sure that he sees you, give that little bit of a shoulder fake. So Taylor, I will press play here, and then I will hand the mic over to you. So what do you see from this play?
yeah. So this was a kind of shot we dialed up exactly like what you're talking about. You're all over it. So the way that Queens plays on their back end, we knew that they're pretty aggressive to drive on those kind of over routes like you were talking about, or from three of those diagonals. And we hit a lot of those across that guy's face onto that kind of hash landmark. Not only against them but against other teams. And so this was a shot we kind of dialed up, knowing that they were going to try and have eyes to that hash. Kind of have EJ nod. I don't know if you guys saw the Ryan Williams route in 24, but we kind of stole this after he hit this at Bama, where he's going to just take 3 steps, nod to the diagonal, and then run vertical over top of that guy's head. And so yeah, what I'm trying to do in the backfield there is just separate my hands a little bit, right? To defense, all I do if I separate my hands, it looks like the ball's coming out. Help EJ on his double move with the safety whose eyes in. This is a great view where you can see it right here. I'm kind of eyeing 22 the whole time in the cadence, and then well, obviously we got to make sure our formation's set. That's a big part of this. So that's me fixing our formation, but just kind of manipulating his eyes and hips to encourage him to drive down on that first portion of the route, and then we can get vertical over top of his head.
Yeah, like I said, I love this end zone cut from it. As I said, slowly here walking through it, you'll be able to see it a little bit better when you do give that shoulder fake. The safety bites, and you're able to set this up beautifully and execute it at a great high level. And I'm sure you guys were super excited to kind of hit this one and almost set it up all year. As I said, with the deep, you can almost see it right there. I'll try to slow it down here a little bit more, Taylor. I don't think I can, but
Yeah,
um,
that's a great angle right there. It all it takes is just a separation of the hands, a little bit nod with the shoulder, and you can see his feet stop. As soon as the DB's feet stop, we're running vertical. Our guy's gonna get open, especially if it's four. I know he's fine. So if we can stop that guy's feet at all, we're in a good position.
Yeah, and maybe a lesson to some of the younger quarterbacks too, right? Maybe they think to have this big wind up to kind of sell it. You give just the very slightest, you can almost see it right here, folks, to kind of just freeze him for that split second, stop his feet, give him that
Right
shoulder
there.
fake right there, and EJ's able to just turn up and have that extra 2, 3 steps on him, and it's money. So I loved watching this when I was able to go through your highlight and kind of pick out a few clips that I wanted to talk through. This was definitely one of them, Taylor. Kind of that, as I said, that you hear this word from time to time when you watch football, whether it's on Sundays or on Friday, Saturday, watching the CFL of manipulating defense, manipulating
Mhm.
coverages, and so often the defense wants to kind of dictate what the offense likes to do, and some of the time you're able to do that on offense, right, and kind of dictate what they want to do. So, play number 2 here, Taylor. I'm going to go through it. Is just um, a ridiculous throw first and foremost, especially in I believe this would have been 2024. So obviously the hashes are still 5, 5, 6, I believe, right here. But
Mm,
Taylor, you see you're on the right hash here, going
yeah.
towards, I guess, or out of your end zone, I guess we could say. You
Yep.
end up hitting EJ on a corner run. I believe actually, as I said, with Taylor, is that you with the Path to Pros platform you
Yeah.
guys started now, and maybe a small time for you guys to talk about that.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Me and EJ, kind of started that together and training quarterbacks and receivers, and something that we like to do. I mean, it's both our passions, and so like you said, I like breaking down some stuff on there, and there'll be more stuff coming out with that too. But definitely excited to get working on that with him too.
Yeah, looking forward to it, man. I really enjoying following along. But this one is almost as
Yeah,
well, kind of setting the tone to a defense, right? You've, as I said, kind of seen EJ run those posts, run those deep overs, and kind of have set that up for a two-way go for himself. He obviously runs the corner route here, but maybe just talk us through this throw number one, a ridiculous throw thrown to the field side of the field, Taylor, and it's about a 45, 50 yard throw dropped in the bucket, but pre-snap, as I mentioned, where you're going to see here, there's probably about 5, 6, 7 guys around the line of scrimmage. It kind of looks like a man-to-man look pre-snap.
Mhm.
It's another thing that you kind of you hear on Sundays or here in professional football is that middle field open, middle field closed. It looks like this one's kind of like that middle field open look where you got you kind of know pre-snap that I have to buy kind of EJ that maybe a second or two to get to his landmark and then break off to that corner stand. But just maybe take us through this one and kind of that, I guess, that feeling when you have a good look for the play call and you're able to kind of execute it the way you did. And then obviously take us into just the ridiculous throw of playing in a Canadian field and how wide it is and then making this throw, Taylor.
Yeah, so you're 100% right. This is definitely a man match look, and pre-snap that was pretty clear we were getting some sort of man coverage. But there's some nuances to man coverage that kind of make this become my throw pre-snap. So when we get lined up and you see the leverage of the field corner, the field half, and then the guy over top of EJ3, you can tell that the field corner is inside shade. So he's kind of locked on one. The field half and the guy over top of EJ have a posture more showing that they would banjo or they would switch off anything that is a switch release route. So when we run through this clip and then you see they
Sorry,
kind of
Taylor. Maybe just explain what banjo means just quickly, just for anybody that maybe might be confused.
yeah, so it means if we were doing a switch release between 2 and 3 here, so let's say EJ was to run at the field half instead of running vertical in his stem, the field half would actually take that route. You can tell right here by the posture of the field half, number 6, how his hips are facing inside and he's outside shade. To me, that's telling me that he thinks he's either passing routes off or he has inside hole help. And then as you can see, the guy over top of EJ with a little bit of depth there, he's actually inside shade of EJ. So they're on, opposite shades, meaning that if they get routes that switch, they'll be able to switch off and keep their leverage. So that's a bit of a specific nuance to this play. That's why I say this kind of looks a little bit matchish to me, like lock one match is the way that leverage is, it kind of creates a little triangle, and with the backer, pushing out very hard and trying to wall anything that runs in breaker, we kind of get a little triangle over top of 2 and 3, which gives EJ leverage to be able to win on his route. And that's kind of the important part that I would say for me pre-snap is seeing the leverage of the guy over top of 3. That allows me to know that if he's inside leverage of him and we have a corner, I can just allow him to run vertical. And then as soon as he breaks, we should be able to win with speed. And so when I see that pre-snap, it's all about, watching the way he comes out of the top of his route, seeing the angle he comes out at, and giving him a nice ball with a lot of arcs for him to be able to track it. The thing that's tough with corner balls is if you throw this thing too skinny, it's real hard for him to track it back over top of his shoulder. So if he sets a nice high angle like EJ does here, drives out of the top of the break, I can throw this thing to a good spot on the sideline. He can go and track it.
Yeah, I love that point about kind of the two-way tandem there of, if EJ takes it a little bit, it kind of puts you off of the throw a little bit, and you're allowed to kind of just allow him to go run onto it a little bit. But you also mentioned something there, Taylor, that I wanted to maybe give fans a little bit of kind of peek behind the curtain as well. Match coverage and something that I'm familiar with as well, and kind of how my coach described it is it's kind of it's man until it's zone and it's zone until it's man kind of thing where
Yeah.
it's kind of it's trying to help the defense as best as possible, but maybe explain that a little bit and kind of how that can confuse that's obviously the intention of the defense, right? Just trying to confuse a little bit of the quarterback and maybe what he's seeing.
Yeah, so there's definitely different versions of match. Like in this set, for example, I think it's just going to be lock one on both sides, triangle over top of 2 and 3, meaning that the corners are just locked. They're straight man to man. But in general, match coverage, you're going to have some sort of waller because in match coverage, it means we're taking as a defense from a defensive perspective, they're going to take 3 guys and cover 2, or they're going to take 4 guys and cover 3. They're going to box it or they're going to triangle it, meaning that they're either going to have, 2 low defenders, 2 high defenders in a box over 3, or they're going to have, some sort of triangle coverage where they go over top of 2. So those are kind of the 2 base ways I would say match plays. But the big thing that you kind of see with match coverage is the sides of the field don't communicate on the defense, meaning that if this was just regular zone coverage and there was a crosser from one side of the field, they would just pass that crosser off and let it go to the zone over there. But in match coverage, you're responsible for the receivers on your side of the field, which makes it play out like man. And so that means that anytime we get an inbreaker, there's got to be some sort of waller trying to prevent that guy from getting across the field. And so that's what you can kind of see with the way that this backer here gets out. Number one, when he gets out to the field, he's looking to push inside out, and he does not want to get wrapped by any inbreaker because there's nothing on that side of the field. So that would be a quick kind of thing about say about match. It is in between zone and man. It plays out like man when it gets past 10 yards. They man up everything so that you know, zone coverage, there's big windows to throw the ball into. So match kind of gives them an ability to feel like they're on leverage, can play with some underneath defenders with help, but still man up verticals.
All right, I'm gonna give you a chance to talk about yourself a little bit, Taylor. And I know it's kind of been, we've heard about the arm strength, but just this is ridiculous for the fans at home that I don't think understand this truly. Of opposite hash going to the field, 65 yards wide, and you put it basically to that other sideline. Just a ridiculous display of arm strength, and obviously the next clip too, Taylor, we're gonna get into. But just talk about how I feel like you're able to almost display that even more at the NFL level, where the field's a little bit more condensed. I know obviously those windows are a little bit tighter, but that
Yeah.
arm strength, you're able to fit balls into tighter windows is just it's great to watch, Taylor.
Yeah, appreciate that. I mean, for me on this one, there's a couple key things that I think allow me to throw a good ball here. One, my base is good in the pocket. I hitch up strong. We get a speed rush off the edge, and being able to kind of hitch and find that spot in the pocket to throw off of, that allows me to really get my weight through. And you can see right here that I'm able to get to a good, loaded throwing position with a solid base, and really get through this football. And yeah, I mean, arm strength is something that you can work on. It's also something that people are blessed with. And so, I'm thankful I can make this throw, but I think it starts with fundamentals.
Yeah, and somebody in your face too, as you mentioned, the fundamentals help you out greatly of being able to get this one off. So Taylor, I want to get into the next clip here, which I believe 647 is this one right here. Another ridiculous throw, and this is a tight window throw if I do have this one correct.
Yeah.
Where you could just this is obviously a ton on talent, but a lot on trust as well. And I think fans at
Yeah.
home won't understand that as well, of kind of understanding that your guy's going to be at a landmark where you expect him to be. But once we see this end zone copy once again, Taylor, this is one of the most ridiculous throws I think I've ever seen of linebackers in that window, and you rip it, man, and just put it on the money for wherever your guy is able to catch it. So just maybe just take us through this one and kind of talk us through your mindset and kind of this play and
Yeah.
when you have some of those tighter window throws.
So what's funny is this play is exactly the exact same one as the Laval clip. So the last one, EJ was running that corner route in man match coverage, and that alerts him to be the winner. But in this time, he's running the clear out for Jace, and so that means that he's going to take a nice vertical stem, and he's going to try and attack the nearest high defender he can to clear it out. So you can see him there making sure the safety gets out of there with a lot of depth. So my big thing, when I'm throwing any of these, in breaker window shots is how can I manipulate, obviously depending on, what throw we're throwing, but how can I manipulate the backer that I'm trying to rip it around? And so what's nice about this one is you're right. It's a lot of trust, it's a lot of timing, but if I can kind of keep my eyes on where I want, yeah, this is a great angle right here. So my eyes are kind of on 33, and in my mind, I can throw the ball around 31 whenever I want. I just have to try and keep 33 down the middle of the field. And so you can see he kind of straightens back up right down the middle of the field, and that's the window I feel like I need to try and fit that thing in there. And if you can manipulate the middle linebacker and either throw around the will or throw around the Sam and trust yourself that you can make that throw, it is a lot of timing. You can see my eyes try and hold him there for a second, and then when you feel it, you got to trust it and let it rip.
Yeah, and obviously a very talented Mustangs defense. Riley McLeod, I believe, CFL draft pick. Jackson Finley, obviously CFL draft pick. And you have no fear to rip it in there. And then obviously this was a good day, I believe, for you guys as well. So maybe just talk about something that I feel like goes I feel like maybe some fans are maybe a little bit confused of what it means as well as kind of feel like it goes under the radar. And that's a thing I've heard from time to time, like trying to match your eyes with your feet. And maybe
Mm.
if your eyes were somewhere else, you wouldn't be able to get to this throw, right? Because your
Yeah.
feet, your base, as you talked about that last play, and you were strong in your fundamentals of,
Yeah.
you know, you could maybe have your eyes in the right place, but if your feet in the right place, and I feel like a lot of young quarterbacks think about having, a big arm and kind of making all those throws when it starts at the base and works your way up, and maybe just touch a little bit on that, Taylor.
100%. You can't do anything without understanding your progressions, understanding your read keys, having good fundamentals. That's the base of the quarterback position. The other thing I'll say with the eyes comment is, you don't start playing quarterback like this with your eyes. You start playing quarterback by trusting your read keys, playing on time, playing in progression. And as you progress in an offense and you can start to get more comfortable and you are prepping through a team throughout the week and you're comfortable with the looks you're getting and the looks you're receiving, you can start to do things like this where I'm trying to, manipulate a specific defender because I trust, that EJ is going to run a good cancel route for me. I trust that Jace is going to get his depth and wrap in the window in the right spot. And now it's on me to try and see if I can take my eyes to the next level and not just follow progressions, but try and help out my progressions by manipulating the defense like you were talking about. And so there's definitely levels of it with the quarterback position. You want to make sure you're not doing too much, looking around, and you want to make sure you're identifying where you need to read and getting the ball on time and playing, with fast eyes and fast feet. But as you progress and you're comfortable in your offense, there's definitely ways to kind of use your eyes, use your headgear, and move defenses.
I love it, Taylor. So, last one here last play I want to break down with you. I will give you the opportunity. I know I'm going to put you on the spot here. Is there any plays that come to mind here that you maybe think is a good opportunity to maybe talk through? If you don't, I do have one that we can probably go to. And is there any that come to mind for you, Taylor?
Trying to think. Off
Where
the
I was
top
going
of
to go
my
with the
head,
direction. Sorry, Taylor. Do you have one?
I was gonna say off the top of my head, I think there was I don't know if it's in this cut up or not, but there was one in the UTEC last year where I kind of moved off my spot to the right and found Ryan Hughes down the right sideline. I feel like that would be a cool one to just talk about, kind of being able to move with your eyes downfield. This would actually be a great one. That Queens clip is a perfect one.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
actually, that's where I was going to go, is talking about kind of the mentality as a passer when you extend
yeah,
plays and kind of keeping your eyes downfield and that mentality as a passer. But yeah, let's talk about this one, Taylor. Just give us your thoughts on kind of this play right here.
yeah. So I was actually just watching this play the other day, looking at my B gap escape here. And so, to me, the big thing with this play is stepping up aggressively in the pocket. So when I get to the back of my drop here, obviously we have another little double move on here, on an isolation shot. So I got to hold the free safety down the middle of the field. But in terms of pocket movement, when I get to the back of my drop, I feel a speed rush. You have to get up in the pocket aggressively. Protect the football, rip from peck to peck. Make sure that I'm you know making that as difficult as possible on the D lineman to turn that corner, and that comes with me stepping up aggressively in the pocket. Then once I step up aggressively, B gap escape and get out. I felt a lane there, but I got to keep my eyes downfield as a passer. I think a lot of guys, when they escape, they immediately lose their eyes or they turn into a runner pretty quickly. But one thing that I think for me, I play the quarterback position. I'm here to get the ball to the other guys, and so obviously when there's time and places to run with the football, but when we have a play like this called, if I can escape there clean, keep my eyes down the field, and keep being a passer, I think you can get explosives in the pass game. If defenses lose contain.
Yeah, and obviously Queen's defense with Newell. Forgive me, I forget 99's name, but two pretty
Giles.
talented defensive. Yeah, two defensive linemen. Um, but as I said, Taylor, you do a great job of kind of moving in the pocket very comfortably as well, and having your feet being able to kind of be under you and be able to rip it whenever you can. I think is a great benefit for you as well. So we've already talked a little bit about it already, kind of like the keeping your eyes downfield. I feel like this one's another one. I think
This is
that's a little
another
bit,
one. Yeah.
yeah, a little bit of a longer one where you escape the pocket a little bit more. And as
Mm-hmm.
you said, kind of the keeping your eyes downfield for as long as possible, trying to find your outlets. It seems like a lot on this cut up, anyways, that your kind of outlet guys is Ryan Hughes, and a lot of the time you're finding him. But just take us through this one even a little bit, Taylor, as well.
Yeah, so this one actually, Huey's running a crosser from the other side of the field, and so when I step up and out, obviously I'm keep my eyes downfield, and I'm kind of looking here for four, but I know when I trust that Huey's going to show up for me somewhere because as I'm moving right, I know that he should be working with me, and he kind of finds a nice pocket of that defense. And I got to give some credit here. That's Connor Franzese. That's the field defensive end that peeled all the way back and tried to get in that window for Western. There, that was a great effort by him. But Huey just kept climbing, kept coming with me, and you know, like I said, staying a passer, attacking the line of scrimmage. If I needed to run, I could go pick up 6 or 7 there. But when you can keep your eyes downfield and find guys and receivers work with you, then there's explosive in the pass game there for sure.
All right, Taylor, last one, buddy, and we'll get you out of here. This I feel like is maybe a little bit of a kind of to lead off first play. I feel like to EJ, where now he just simply runs that deep over route, and you're going to see
Yeah,
it here a little bit better. Where, as I said, you guys kind of set this double move up, where you're running kind of a lot of those deep overs, deep posts,
yeah,
and was it the Queen safety, or forgive me on the team on that first clip, the safety
yeah.
kind of made. watching film or whatever, expecting it, and then obviously you're able to manipulate them. So just take us through this one last one, and we'll get you out of here, Taylor.
I mean, this is exactly it. You can't make the first throw that we showed unless you can make this throw. This throw is what sets up the double move. This is what the one that you got to be able to hit. And I mean, again, got to give credit. Finley covers this thing pretty well. I mean, he knows it's coming. He's a smart defender. He feels that three's kind of trying to cross his face, but EJ does a great job on this route of running vertically enough at him to give me enough time to let this play develop and then coming flat and making a great play on this football, because you can see Finley's trying to keep his inside leverage here. He sees it. He's driving it hard, but EJ wraps really well. You can tell they've prepped it. Riley's trying to get in that window as well, but if you can make a good throw on your guys, front shoulder and drive the football in there before, high coverage can come down on it, then you got a chance for some big ones. So, yeah, that one definitely sets up the one that we watched first. We hit that one, and then you can hit the other one.
Yeah, I love it. That's a battle I love to watch there, the Jackson Finley versus EJ battle that happened quite a bit throughout their careers. But man, I love that, Taylor. I really appreciate you jumping on the first episode of the film breakdown. My last question, I'm going to throw it back to you, Taylor. Now that we've started the series, I'm curious. Does anyone? I'm going to put you on the spot again a few times this episode, but I'm curious. Does anybody come to mind, whether it's even maybe EJ or something like that, in terms of maybe a future guest here on the film breakdown? Now, obviously, as I said, I would love to maybe break down some of your Packers film or whatnot in the future.
Yeah.
I thought about maybe the possibility of kind of like a Theo Benedette, but we would also like to kind of feature some of the Canadian style of football and kind of breaking down some of that film, because I feel like it's scarce out there on YouTube and whatnot on some of those platforms where you do see some of like the guys like the Film Watchers, Cover One on NFL that break down the all 22
Yeah.
stuff, where I feel like we don't see a lot of the all 24 type of stuff. So is there anybody that comes to mind, whether it's Canadian in the CFL, NFL, Usports, CJFL, that maybe comes to mind that you think would be a good guest on here?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you another Laurier football player, Jesse Wilkins Flairson, our Will linebacker. He's a smart football player, and I think watching some clips from the defense perspective and seeing kind of what he's seeing pre-snap versus what I'm seeing pre-snap would be a cool kind of contrast. And he's a smart football player. Obviously, he had an outstanding year this year, winning the OUA stand-up defensive player of the year, and so he'd be a cool guy to get on.
Awesome, buddy. I appreciate you once again. Friend of the program, we could say now, as Taylor's been on here a few times. Taylor, man, wishing you the best of luck. Maybe we'll be able to touch base again in the spring before you get busy in football season once again, buddy. But we're big fans of you here on the Canadian Football Fanatics, and we're rooting you on in your future endeavors. So best of luck, and we'll chat soon.
Sounds good. Talk to you soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Taylor. Alrighty, folks. Huge shout out once again to Mr. Elgersma, one Taylor Elgersma, for jumping on the channel, chopping it up with us a little bit and breaking down some film. I'm honestly pumped, guys. I'm really excited to post this, to edit it into some clips and whatnot, post it on our social feeds, and see the feedback. I really think people are going to enjoy this type of content, enjoy this series that we're going to start here on the Canadian Football Fanatics YouTube channel. When speaking about the Canadian Football Fanatics YouTube channel, if you guys are tuning in right now and enjoying this video, please be sure to leave a like on the video, comment down below. When I said comment down below, and let us know who you guys would like to see. Maybe now, after you guys have seen how things are going to work, let us know down in the comments now, whether it's a coach or player at a professional level, Usports level, NCAA level, heck, JUCO level, whatever it may be. If they're Canadian, we'll love to have them on, chop it up a little bit, and break down some film, as I think it's going to be a great series here on the channel, and a great way to kind of interact with some fans and kind of, as I said, give them a peek behind the curtains of what goes on, because there's a lot of stuff that I feel like, especially at the quarterback position, that fans really have no idea, from play call into your ear, play call, the microphone cut off. You have to reiterate that play call, understand what everybody on your team's doing, understand your assignment to the best of your ability, and then understand what the defense is trying to do to you and try to stop your play as well. So really looking forward to seeing how you guys react to this one. Honestly, I'm really looking forward to editing this one, if I'm being honest, which is something that I usually don't say from time to time, which is kind of some of the not the hard work per se, because I'm very lucky to do this for a hobby, but some of the stuff that you would love to, as kind of a content creator, is after you record, to just maybe upload, and that's it. But I'm really looking forward to editing some of these clips together, and breaking down some of the film. Or I guess getting the breakdown out to you guys is what I'm trying to get at here. But that is going to be about 40 minutes, folks, and I feel like that's about perfect timing for a video. I wanted to do about 45 minutes, not to be too long, in our first film room breakdown. as I mentioned, folks, comment down below. Let us know who you guys would like to see here on the film breakdown series, whether it's a coach, player, etc. Heck, it could be even an executive, somebody that's in the front office or whatnot. A scout might even be a cool thing to have here on the channel. A scout coach. And then again, I'm definitely going to circle back and get a defensive perspective as well. Wanting to hopefully get back on Logan Ferlin after he partakes in the Grey Cup tomorrow, as of the time of this recording. As obviously by the time this is uploaded, it's going to be probably a few days or maybe even a week that has passed after the Grey Cup. So, man, once again, is it bittersweet to end the CFL season in 2025. But, folks, as of the day of this recording, the Mitchell Bowl, UTech Bowl is going to go on. So the Vanier Cup will be played next week, of course, for the bragging rights to take home the national championship in 2025. Looking forward to that one. Looking forward to actually throwing that game on, as it's actually about to kick off right now. As I believe it's Laval and is it Laval and St. Mary's, I believe, and then followed by Queens and Saskatchewan. Actually, huge shout out to Anton Amrud. Hopefully, I'm saying that and pronouncing it correctly. Huge shout out to you, man, and thinking about you, sending our thoughts and prayers to you and your family at this time, as I know you're going through quite the battle right now. And not going to touch on it too much, folks. If anybody's wondering what I'm talking about, you can, I feel like, research and find out about it, or even message our Canadian Football Fanatics platform on Instagram. We'll reach out to you privately, but I feel like that's kind of maybe a private matter, and I don't want to divulge some of that information without it maybe wanting to be public knowledge. So thinking about the Saskatchewan Huskies family, and definitely going to be rooting on them as they try to embark on this Vanier Cup run. So looking forward to it, folks, as I'm going to go enjoy some Canadian football on the couch for the rest of the afternoon. Actually going to get out to a local football game here at about 2 o'clock Pacific time in a few hours. So looking forward to that. As I mentioned, though, folks, liking, commenting, subscribing is most importantly. When you guys subscribe, press the notification bell. You guys get notified each time we go live or upload a video just like this one right here. And of course, you guys can find us on our social media platforms at Canadian Football Fanatics on Instagram, at Canadian Football Fanatics on Twitter as well. Lastly, we will be back in a few days or few weeks, probably a few days by the time this is uploaded, with our BC Lions off-season primer video. Really looking forward to that one. Potentially going to try to track down a guest, whether it's JC Abbott, Nick Kowalski, Matt Baker, Julio Caravetta. We will try to maybe track down a guest to end the season properly for the BC Lions. And then, as I mentioned, podcast episodes will be coming out shortly, maybe a week or two after Grey Cup is finished, finito. So maybe to end December and maybe start, end November and start December, you can maybe look forward to some podcast episodes being out there in your guys' feed. Other than that, we will be back in some sort of capacity with a future guest in our film room breakdown episode numero 2. Once again, huge shout out to quarterback Taylor Elgersma for hopping on episode 1 of the film breakdown. We really enjoyed it and hope you guys do as well. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.